What is happening, all you Star Wars nerds out there, and welcome to the second episode of the Fan Wars podcast. We're just some regular old nerds who wanted to do a podcast from the fans' perspective, but a little bit of housekeeping. That's actually not so little. We're going to be expanding the show a little bit, and on this podcast we'll be discussing all things nerds, so not just Star Wars, but DC content, Marvel content, whether it's TV, movies. We're going to be bringing all the sweaty nerd content. So, but that's enough out of me. We got the same crew from our debuting episode, and we want to start with our resident dripologist, Cody, aka Bodie Williams. Bodie, what's up?
Hey, what's up, everybody? You sweaty nerds, back at it again like we never left.
Back at it again. David Hidalgo, we got him on too. What's happening, David?
What it do?
And last but not least, the sleepy man himself, Hunter Holmes. Hunter, what's happening?
Sup?
Oh man! All right. Well, we're gonna start off with Star Wars since that was the base of the podcast. We want to start off with Colin Trevorrow, who was originally directing Episode 9. As we all know, he wrote and directed Episode 9 before he left the project and they rehired J.J. Abrams for it. His Episode 9 script got leaked. And it's not out there for the public, but a lot of like reporters and stuff like that have gotten a hold of it, and it's like you can see pretty much all the details on it on Reddit and stuff like that. I've been through it pretty much like plot for plot what it was about, and I just kind of want to discuss that as our opening topic. I'm just gonna put it out there. It's a lot better than The Rise of Skywalker. I know it's different. It's really like Leia heavy, so it would have been impossible for them to do because like they wrote this script in like 2016, and Leia passed away in like 2017. Or actually, Leia passed away like a couple of weeks after they sent this draft in, so they couldn't have done it. But this script was really good. I mean, there was no Palpatine. None of us were a fan of Palpatine and stuff like that. But we got like a good in-depth look at like the Knights of Ren and stuff like that, and they really fulfilled like all the arcs from the previous two movies. So I just want to put that out there. Did any of you have a chance to see like what the script was about, or have y'all heard about it or anything like that?
I just saw the opening crawl that you had shown us. Yeah, I don't know a lot of the details about it though.
Mm-hmm. It was called Episode 9, Duel of the Fates, too, which is a pretty cool title, and that's, like, better than Rise of Skywalker, I think.
Yeah.
I agree.
I haven't been through it as probably as thoroughly as you have, Josh, mm-hmm. But, I mean, I think we're probably all going to be in agreement here that obviously it's the movie that should have been made, or much closer to the movie that should have been made.
Yeah.
Like you said, I've heard it, not only was it Leia heavy, but a little more heavy lifting done by Luke. I heard Obi-Wan and Yoda were supposed to have been in there, and that would have been a lot more satisfying for fans of the original trilogy to see some of those guys come back. But
I'm glad you brought that up, because Luke's role in this, it kind of picked right up from The Last Jedi with Luke's arc in this movie, and he is training Rey. Even though he's a Force ghost, he's the one training Rey. I know, right. Like, it was cool kind of to see in The Rise of Skywalker for Leia to train Rey, but it makes more sense that Luke is training her. But not only that, he is haunting Kylo Ren, so kind of picking off that see her around kid line from The Last Jedi. He was haunting Kylo Ren, which is something that I would have been just freaking so excited to see. But yeah, Hunter, you got anything to add on that?
I'm just going to say this whole series, I've been really interested with the Knights of Ren, and The Rise of Skywalker just kind of crapped all over it.
Yeah.
By barely having them in there, and they were nothing more than henchmen. Yeah. I would have liked to see Colin Trevorrow's how he was going to implement them, because it sounded pretty cool.
Yeah.
But that's about all I got.
Darksaber. And they each had names, and one of them had the Darksaber, so that would have been like really cool to see.
Seeing the Darksaber in a movie would have been huge for the nerds, man. Yeah, I know we got a little taste of it in Mandalorian, but man, that would have been huge for the nerds there.
And Kylo Ren also, he was on Mustafar in this movie, and he was looking at a Sith holocron, and it was a Sith holocron of in the holocron was a hologram of Palpatine. So Palpatine kind of made a cameo in this movie, but in a hologram, you know, from when he was alive. So it makes a lot more sense. But it was a message to Darth Vader, and once the holocron realized that Kylo Ren wasn't Darth Vader and that he was reading the message, it like shocked him, and it like the droid pretty much started torturing him, and they even like tortured him so bad that he was like disfigured, and they had to like put Mandalorian armor in his face just to fix him up, and he like pretty much was like a new Darth Vader. So it sounds like they were gonna make him the big bad villain in that movie, and I know that's something we all wanted to see.
Damn, that would have been nice.
Palpatine, yeah.
But quick note on that too. The thing that I would have preferred, and I know we've talked about this before, but that it sounds like in the leak script that they basically got to the conclusion that Kylo was too far gone and has to be quote unquote extinguished. And I think that also would have been a much more satisfying ending to the movie, instead of Kylo being another redemption story and then him and Rey killing each other, and you know.
So that's what I wanted. I didn't want any redemption for Kylo.
Yeah.
So I would have rather had that.
And they think they had I think I read that they had a vision. Rey had a vision of her joining Kylo Ren and like them restarting the Sith, and like Kylo Ren was sitting on the throne and Rey was right next to him and stuff. So they sound like they had some pretty cool visuals and stuff too. But I don't want to harp on that too much, just because none of us really like the movie. But another bit of Star Wars news that we got this week is that Fandom Wire reported that Disney is developing on Disney Plus a Knights of Ren Old Republic TV show, and I know we'd all be excited for that. But Kathleen Kennedy last year in May, she announced that they were going to do a Knights of the Old Republic movie, and that the script was actually being written by Leia. I'm trying to get her name right. Layetta. I'm not even going to try her last name, but she wrote Avatar and Shutter Island too. But so they said a movie script for Knights of the Old Republic was in develop, but it sounds like they're making a TV show now. What do you guys think about that?
Oh, I would love that. Yeah. I think a TV show would be better off.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, especially because it's something we haven't seen, and none of it's really canon. I'd be interested to see what they want to do with it, though. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because especially now that we heard in the last episode of The Mandalorian that they made the Jedi and Mandalorian Wars canon. Mm-hmm. I think that's something we could see, and it seems like they're going deeper and deeper into this Mandalorian stuff, because we even saw that they're going to be part of the last season of the Clone Wars. Yeah, and they're pretty big in Rebels as well. Mm-hmm. So it seems like they're really jumping in with the whole Mandalorian thing. So I think it'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. Cody, what do you got on that?
Yeah, so obviously any new Star Wars I'm excited about. I'm not too familiar with the Knights of the Old Republic or any of that kind of stuff. I do remember the game back in the day. I don't think I played it too much, but I do remember it. But I will say Avatar and especially Shutter Island are fantastic movies. Oh, yeah. So you know, if you've got the same person. Yeah, exactly. I mean, mix that with Star Wars, it's got to be pretty special.
Yeah. What about you, Hunter?
I was just thinking, I'm wondering if they try and do both, and they do a TV show and then like a movie to accompany the TV show, because I'd be all for that. Or just some, like, because how it went, you had the Clone Wars, and then you had Revenge of the Sith. So it'd be cool if they go back to those roots and like do Knights of the Old Republic, and then all the TV show leads up to an epic finale, which is basically its own movie, or something like that.
I'd like to see that. The video game, the original video game, which I'm guessing what they're basing the storyline off of, came out in 2003. I played it in like 2005, I think, not too long after Revenge of the Sith had came out, and it's an amazing story. I told y'all off air that I think like that storyline in the game is one of the best storylines I've seen in Star Wars. So if they adapt that from that game, it's going to be amazing. But kind of breaking off of that, but on the same topic, they announced that we're gonna have the next set of movies, or so they say, is gonna be in the High Republic era. And it's supposed to be like 400 some odd years before the Phantom Menace and stuff like that. So I guess they wouldn't be doing a Knights of the Old Republic movie, at least, if they're going to do that. What do y'all think about this High Noon era? And they also mentioned that we're going to see Yoda, but not exactly how we've known him. So that was kind of ambiguous. What do you guys think about that?
Well, I think that'd be pretty interesting. I mean, I really don't know too much about it. I know they've been hinting at it with some of the new comics, and I did hear that Yoda would be about 400 years old. So
yeah,
that could be interesting.
Middle age for him, yeah. If he died about almost 900 years old, so it'd be about the middle of his life.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm trying to think. So in Phantom Menace, they say that we haven't seen a Sith for like 1,000 years, right?
Yeah,
like we haven't seen any major. Yeah, so I mean, it makes sense why they would call it the High Era, because it'd be like probably the prime of the Jedi. Mm-hmm. So it'd be a new Jedi that we haven't really seen, because we've never seen the Jedi Council as like the good guys, I guess you could say, because they were corrupted by the war. I mean, as soon as Phantom Menace started. So I mean, that could be interesting to see what they do with the Jedi and who the big bad would be. Yeah, because obviously there aren't that many Sith around at that time, if there are any. So I don't know if it would just be like Jedis against Jedis or what would happen. So I'm interested.
What you got, Hunter?
I'm pretty interested in it. I'm wondering if it's going to be more like a political type of trilogy, because like David was saying, there's not any real Sith or anything around. So I'm wondering how that's all going to work. And I'm still hoping that they do kind of like how they did Rogue One and Solo during this last trilogy. I'm hoping we still do get a Knights of the Old Republic movie, because I just really want to see that.
Yeah, that's a good point about the politics, because if you think about it, the prequels in general are really political, like very political. So
yeah, that's what I like about them.
Yeah, so if they're going back to the High Noon era, it's probably going to be like even more political. What do you think, Bodhi?
Yeah, the political aspect of it could definitely be interesting, especially, like y'all said, if there's no Sith, if there's no, where are they going to find the conflict? So that could be interesting. I am, this won't surprise you guys, but, I'm a huge Yoda fan. I have a dog named Yoda. I'm obsessed. So seeing Yoda when he's younger like that, that's exciting to me. I would like to see a less perfect Yoda. everything we've seen from Yoda is just, he does no wrong. He's all knowing, it'd be kind of nice to see him with some flaws and how he's got to that, how he learned the hard lessons to get to where he is and stuff, like, kind of like we saw with Anakin and Luke too, or Rey, everybody for that matter. Yeah. We haven't really seen that with Yoda, the struggle. So I think that would be pretty interesting, actually.
Yeah. And staying on movies, my boy Taika Waititi has been approached, not confirmed, but apparently he's been approached to direct a Star Wars movie. And as we know, Taika Waititi's directed Thor Ragnarok. He directed a new Jojo Rabbit, which is up for a lot of awards. He directed one of my favorite comedies of all time, super underrated, What We Do in the Shadows. That movie is hilarious. If you ever want a good laugh, watch What We Do in the Shadows. It's hilarious. But and he obviously directed the last episode, Chapter 8 of The Mandalorian. So, like, I mean, he's in the Disney family, and now he's in the Star Wars family, and now they're approaching him to do a movie. Would you guys like to see Taika do a movie?
I think it could be interesting. I mean, it seems like they might actually be doing what's rumored, because it was rumored that Lucasfilms was thinking about not doing trilogies anymore. Yeah. And, I mean, if they're coming at all these, not random, but all these different directors, I mean, it might sound like that's what they want to do, because if they're trying to give one to Taika and then they're thinking about giving one to Feige, and
that could be the same movie, because Feige's not going to direct, he's only producing it, so
that's true.
Be the same movie.
That's true. And of course, a lot of names are going to get thrown around until stuff is confirmed. Yeah. But I mean, I'd be about it. I mean, he's done a good job with everything he's done so far, and like you said, that last episode of The Mandalorian was awesome.
Yeah, it was great.
I'm hoping if he does do it, he gets somebody that really knows Star Wars to help him produce, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully he'd get like Filoni or something, or even John Favreau.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I'd be interested in it.
Yeah. What about the rest of you guys?
I'd be kind of interested in it just because he has a really unique style, really and he tends to add a lot of comedy in his movies. Mm-hmm. The Mando episode 8 was probably the first thing I've ever seen him direct where it wasn't a bunch of comedy in there. Yeah. So I'm interested to see how he adds the comedy in there because he's going to.
Oh yeah.
And we haven't seen a Star Wars movie with like his level of comedy, so I'm just interested to see how that like meshes.
Yeah, that's a good point. What about you, Bodie?
My initial reaction to hearing all this was not excited. I mean, you guys know that I'm not really a huge fan of the Marvel movies or the superhero movies in general. Mm-hmm. But the more I looked into it, I will say the two that I've liked the most of all those movies are probably Ragnarok and Infinity War. I know both those are Feige movies, right? So
yeah, all of them Feige movies, but Waititi
I guess that's true. Yeah,
Ragnarok, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. I hope they don't make it too much, to put this politely, a visual spectacle like some of those movies are. Mm-hmm. But like I said, I know they have made some great movies too. So I mean, and again, I'm not going to turn down any opportunity to watch new Star Wars. So
yeah, Taika he does a good job of blending comedy with good story, like with Jojo Rabbit. He does. It's a really funny movie, but there's so much heart in that movie. And even Ragnarok, in my opinion, Ragnarok does some of the best jobs with Thor, besides maybe the first Thor movie, with building Thor's character. Because I mean, in Ragnarok is where Thor really becomes like a king and stuff like that, and accepts his destiny. Yeah. And so I think Taika blends comedy and story very well. But on the topic of movies coming out, they announced Rian Johnson in 2017 was going to direct a trilogy, and we have not heard diddly squat about it since then. Do you guys think, and he was up for awards for his movie Knives Out, and they asked him about Star Wars, and he said that he's still in talks with Disney, but nothing's announced. So do you guys think that this Rian Johnson trilogy is going to happen, or do you think it's done with?
I don't know. I feel like it might not happen, to be honest. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if anybody can handle it, it's him. He clearly has thick skin, and he knows how to handle trolls.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'd hope that we see it. I don't know. I feel like Disney might try to do like a soft reboot almost with like all of their major players, you know? Because obviously George Lucas is out, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like they might just try to start fresh and get somebody completely new. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I still have hope that he'll at least make another movie. I just don't know if he'd make another trilogy, or if he would make the trilogy.
And like, I have no idea what era it's gonna be, because I mean, it's from everything that's been announced, it sounds like they're going back to the Old Republic era. And like, I mean, they literally announced this like when The Last Jedi came out in December 2017. So, and we haven't heard like what it would be about, when it would come out. So, if I had to put money on it, I would say it's not going to happen, which sucks to say because I love Rian Johnson. I love The Last Jedi. So, but what do the rest of you guys think?
Oh, do you want to
not
take
only
this one?
I'll jump in. Yeah, not only The Last Jedi, we all love that, even despite maybe what some of Twitter feels about the movie. But then Knives Out too, which just came out, and everybody's been crazy about that. I mean, I would very much love to see a Rian Johnson trilogy, like you said. I mean, I don't really know when they would set it, but
especially if you're giving him some like characters that we don't know, you know, he doesn't have to use legacy characters or anything like that. It's all brand new characters. Yeah.
Which actually, by the way, is kind of an exciting state for Star Wars to be in. Like, I mean, as much as I love the old story and everything, it's kind of exciting that they can start somewhere new and take us on a different path than we've been on for 30 years, 40 years.
Yeah. What about you, Bumper?
If I don't think the trilogy is going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're not going to give him the trilogy, let this man direct the Knights of the Old Republic. Like, let him direct the show. Well, I'm saying let him direct the show, because then if he wants to do the movie, because he's already proven himself to be a good director for Star Wars, and his movie's been well received.
Mm-hmm.
If you're planned to do a show that runs into a movie, why would you not have the same director for both the show and the movie, so he can see his vision through? And Rian Johnson's got a great vision for Star Wars.
Yeah, and he's got experience in TV too.
So I just feel like that's the perfect fit if they still are in talks, because I feel like the trilogy is off the table.
Yeah, probably. And like I just don't know when it would come out, because like they announced a movie for 2022, and like they haven't said what that movie is and like when. So I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. The films is gonna be weird going on. But one topic for Star Wars that I didn't put in the show notes, so it's kind of putting you guys on the spot. Well, because it didn't come out yet. The trailer for the season 7 of Clone Wars. I didn't want to get through this without talking about that. What were you guys?
Oh yes. I was so excited. I saw it like as soon as it popped. Yeah. I pretty much saw it pop up like 30 seconds after it came out, and I watched it, and I'm so excited. And now that I've sat on it and like people have kind of like dug through it a little bit, I saw that. I know you guys saw that post that said that it might, what looks like it might interlap with Revenge of the Sith. Yeah. And me and Josh have always talked about how Revenge of the Sith feels like it's way too short.
Yeah.
So if they do this correctly, it could make Revenge of the Sith feel a little bit longer if there was stuff that we didn't see in the movie, because of the they got that theory because they're saying that Padme is wearing the same clothes that she's wearing on Mustafar at the end of Revenge of the Sith, and then of course when you hear what's his name, Samuel Jackson, when he's
Mace Windu.
Mace Windu.
You best put some respect.
Well, anyways, when you hear Mace Windu say that he feels like a plot is going against the Jedi, obviously that's from the movie. So I don't know. I'm super interested to see it. Maybe it'll be like half the season will be right before, and then maybe like the last couple of episodes will intertwine with Revenge of the Sith. But it could make Revenge of the Sith, which is already one of my favorite Star Wars movies, even better.
Yeah, it should build onto it. I'm pretty sure they confirmed. I'm pretty sure I read somewhere that it goes past the events of Revenge of the Sith, but that might be with Ahsoka, because I know the main storyline of the season 7 is supposed to be about the Siege of Mandalore, and with like Ahsoka and Darth Maul and Bo-Katan and all those guys. And but it's supposed to like intertwine with Order 66. They said Order 66 specifically. So what do you guys think about that?
So that's what I was going to say. I'm not ready for another Order 66.
That's what I was going to say too.
Emotionally, I'm still not over the first one. So
that joke is sad.
That was my main. Note on that trailer. Is I don't think I'm ready for that again. I do think this agreed with what David said and what we've said a million times. This should be episode 3, part 2, instead of a series of an animated series, or season of an animated series. But either way, I'm not ready for Order 66 again.
What about you, Honor?
I'm super excited for this last season. The Siege of Mandalore. That's just, they've built that up so much. I'm ready to see it. But God, if I hear execute Order 66, I don't know what I'm gonna do, because I already had to. I know I am, and I might just have to I might just have to mute the TV really quick so I don't hear it, because Oh, that's just gonna hurt so much. Just stab me with a lightsaber. Just get it over with.
The sequence in Revenge of the Sith is like the saddest thing in Star Wars. Like
I might as well be one of the younglings.
Yeah.
I am interested.
They killed my childhood.
Of that, if they like at least expand a little bit on it from Anakin going, all right, well, I'm on the dark side now. Hey, kids, y'all ready to die? Like, that was such a quick flip.
About a 5-second period.
Yeah.
You know what? That turn, though, oh, God. That turn looks like a billion times as long as Kylo Ren's turn to the good side.
I knew as soon as he started the sentence where he was going to go with that.
I didn't say it.
Okay, I don't want to.
God.
But, yeah, the Clone Wars season 7, they had a little cameo of Lil Kanan with his master. Her name escapes me, but you saw the holograms of those two there too, so they're connecting everything, man. Like Filoni's killing this, dude.
I wonder if they'll have the one that I forget his name, but
Cal.
The little redheaded, or he's not little anymore, but from the game.
Cal.
Oh yeah, Cal.
Not Calrissian. Sorry, but yeah, Cal. I said Cal, and I forgot. I'm tired. All right.
What? I forgot what his last name was.
Yeah, that's what I forgot, and then I just was trying to say Cal, and so it would like be put together, and then Rissian came out, and
just have it, Calrissian.
That's his name, Cal Kestis.
Yeah, I was close in Uncloseville.
Yeah, but that'll. It would be interesting to see if he was in there, because they even had his part in Order 66 in the game too. So that'd be crazy. But I think that's all we're gonna do for Star Wars today. Want to move on to some other topics, because I mean this past week, and we haven't been on for 2 weeks, but this past week a lot of news has been dropping. So switching over to some general nerd topics, the new Flashpoint movie got announced officially to be released in July 2022, and they said it's going to be like a soft reboot of the DCEU universe, and they said that it's not going to be the stereotypical Flashpoint movie that we're all accustomed to. So, and the director, Andy Muschietti, who's directed It and It 2, he's going to be the ones directing it. So what do you guys think about that?
I'll jump in on that one first. I'm actually very excited about this. Sorry, David.
You're good.
I was just going to say, and this is actually, I kind of want to go before you, because I'm afraid you're going to say something like this, but I know how much David loves the Joker. I love the Joker movie, but the main reason I love it is because it was so nice to see. You see all these movies all the time. Yeah, these movies about superheroes that are supposed to be about murder and evil and yada yada, and then it's just kind of, Joker was a realistic, somewhat movie, for what that would feel like, what's going on in somebody's life. And so, when the It director comes into this kind of movie, I expect him to make a similar type of movie. So I'm very excited for that, actually.
Yeah, and this Flash movie has run through this will be like the fourth director that's been attached to it, like the fourth writer that's going to be attached to it. So the fact that they got Andy Muschietti to direct this is very comforting. But what do the rest of you guys think about it?
So I'll say the first thing I got to say is that I don't believe anything Warner Brothers says until I see pre-production pictures. So like until the literal moment,
he makes good points.
Until the literal moment that I see that they're filming on location somewhere, and even then, like they have to be like halfway through the movie, then I'll believe it. So that's the first thing. A second thing, I'm wondering what they're gonna do, because I don't know if you guys saw this, but Ezra Miller had a cameo in Infinite Crisis in the CW thing. So I'm interested. So I haven't seen it yet, but I saw that moment, and I'm interested to see if that was just like a fun moment, or if whatever that means, if they're doing a whole multiverse or whatever. And I'm also interested to hear rated because I guess it all depends on what Birds of Prey does, because Birds of Prey is only the second DC rated R movie. So I think depending on how Birds of Prey does in the box office will depend what they want to do with Flash. So here's to hoping Birds of Prey does well, because it would actually be kind of cool to see a semi-scary Flash movie. You know, like they could have what's his name as Thomas Wayne again. You know, like that would be really cool if they had.
I always forget his name.
He was in Watchmen.
Yeah, he was in Walking Dead too.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan. They had Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Yes. I mean, the chances of it happening aren't great because obviously they want to get rid of the whole Batfleck thing. Mm-hmm. But that could be interesting to see, like the Thomas Wayne Batman and the Martha Wayne Joker. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm interested. I mean, it was a good movie. It too was pretty decent as well.
Yeah.
They could do a lot with the multiverse, a lot with the soft reboot. Mm-hmm. Here's to hoping we get a Justice League movie in 10 years. But
oh man,
we'll see.
For real, Justice
10
League
years.
Movies are so dead. Like they're not gonna touch that, man. What do you think?
All right, so this is gonna be a little bit of a rant, and it's gonna be the opposite of Cody and David's reactions. I was disappointed when I heard that it will not be like what we were expecting from Flashpoint, because I wanted them to follow the movie as close as possible. And if they don't, that means we're going to miss out on Gal Gadot fighting Jason Momoa in an all-out war. And like that would just be awesome to see. Mm-hmm. We're going to miss out on, like, if they really wanted to do DC Dark, like that scene where the Flash tries to get his powers back and fails, like that's a brutal scene, and like it's super, like I really like that scene because it's humbling for the Flash, who's like this jokester and like the preppy guy in the Justice League, and for him to get that low, like, shows you like the depth of what he's feeling, and just Martha Wayne becoming the Joker and Thomas becoming Batman. Like I just really want to see all that. Now granted, there's no way they could have fit all of that in a movie, but it would have been a great way to like make other movies to go along with it. But since we're not going to be able to see any of that, I'm just kind of sad. I'm sure it's still going to turn out great. I'm just being a little Debbie Downer over here, but that's just how I felt.
Downer, man.
They could still do some of that stuff. They haven't said what. They just said like the stereotypical Flashpoint movie that we're thinking of is probably not going to happen. But I mean, hey, like we just said, the Joker movie was not what we thought it was going to be, and it turned out great. You know, we all loved it. So we just have to wait and see, really, or wait and see until they release more information about that. But as far as the soft reboot aspect of that, I'm really interested to see what that means, because does that mean they're going to get rid of actors? Does that mean they're just going to kind of act like previous movies didn't happen? You know, because they're starting to go on the right path. You know, Wonder Woman has always been successful. Aquaman was successful, even though I'm not a fan of the movie. It was successful in the box office. Shazam was great and stuff like that. So they're moving in the right direction. So what do y'all think this soft reboot is going to look like?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like they're going to go with the whole multiverse thing. Because I mean, I don't see Matt Reeves as Batman really getting together with the rest of the guys anytime soon. At least not in the first movie. And clearly they've recasted characters that were already casted. I mean, obviously, but because it would have been one thing if they only recasted Robert Pattinson, but they recasted Jim Gordon.
Recasted everybody. That universe is gonna be separate.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting, because I mean, if they are ever planning on making a Justice League movie, which I'm sure they are, because it would because obviously if they do it right, it would be a box office hit. It'll be so I don't know. I mean, it'll be interesting to see what happens, because it seems like they're keeping a lot of the other movies, and they're really just getting, because at this point they're really only getting rid of Batfleck, and of course, I mean, Henry Cavill isn't planned for anything. But he's not confirmed to be gone yet.
No, and he wants to come back. It's just I don't know what's keeping him from.
Are we saying Batfleck?
Yeah, that's
it's a thing.
Affleck's Bat.
Yeah, I know what it is.
That's definitely a thing.
Yeah, no, that's
definitely a thing.
Yeah,
I've never heard that. Oh, y'all are some fools.
But then again, I don't want to even think about anything until stuff is announced. Because I don't know if you were going to mention this, but they also announced that they're thinking about making a Justice League Dark show or movie or something. Like HBO wants to do it.
I didn't have that on the show notes because that just like a couple days ago.
And that would be really cool. But I mean, that's been a rumor for a long time too. I know they had what's that director? The one that wins all the Oscars, the Mexican one, the Del Toro. They had him. Yeah, they had him doing one of the movies, and obviously that didn't happen. So, like I said, I won't even think about anything.
J.J. Abrams. It was J.J. Abrams supposed to be doing that.
Oh yeah, J.J. Abrams and J.J. Abrams and Bad Robot is supposed to do the show. Which if he's doing the show, he's only allowed to do 3 seasons because there was only 3 good seasons of Lost. So
I was about to say I was excited for that show you were talking about until you mentioned Jar Jar Abrams.
He still make the show happen. He doesn't need to be involved in the writing or directing or anything.
Yeah. So again, like all of these ideas could be interesting, but I don't put anything in my mind anymore unless I see pre-production happening. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that's smart because they've been really, especially with the Flash, they've been really bad with announcing and stuff like that. I mean, the DC Warner Brothers had announced a ton of DC movies around the time that Man of Steel had came out. They had
back in 2013.
Yeah, they had announced
Black Adam
movie, Black Adam. They had announced a Cyborg movie, a Green Lantern Corps movie. And none of that happened.
Yeah.
So, and they had announced a Justice League.
See, I know you got to generate hype, but it's like, like David's saying, like all these announcements and stuff, like it's kind of hard to get excited for them because it's like here in 2 years, it's like, oh yeah, you remember when they announced that movie? They're not going to do anymore.
Crazy.
Justice League 2 and The Flash were supposed to come out last summer.
Yeah, it seems like Justice League 2, Jesus. It seems like they are kind of adopting what they're doing with the animated movies, and they're just like taking whatever movie idea they get, and they're like, okay, if it's good, just do it. We don't care if it has continuity or anything like that. I mean, the Birds of Prey movie, pretty much like that. People liked Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, so they were like, all right, let's do that. And then Suicide Squad 2, they had James Gunn attached to that, so they were like let's do that. And Martin Scorsese came up, he was like, all right, let's do a Joker movie, and they were like, oh yeah, let's do that. So it seems like
I thought they bailed on Suicide Squad 2.
No, Suicide Squad 2 is happening. That's like already filmed.
Will Smith bailed on it though.
He's not gonna be
maybe that's what I'm thinking about. Yeah, that's probably what I was thinking.
James Gunn is the guy who's directed the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. He's directing that, and that cast is massive. Like they have, like John Cena,
John Cena.
Yeah, like there's a crap ton of actors in that movie. So we'll see how that's going. But another piece of news that had dropped was James Wan is gonna produce an Aquaman HBO animated show. It's called Aquaman King of Atlantis. So only thing that I really wanted to talk about with that is, does that mean he's not doing Aquaman 2? Because I know they had already announced an Aquaman 2. Like we said, they announced a lot of stuff. But like, as soon as Aquaman 1 came out and it was like a box office hit, they announced Aquaman 2. So do you guys think that's not going to happen now?
No, I think it's definitely happening for sure. I mean, the movie made $1 billion. I mean, I could see him producing that on his on the side and still making the movie.
Yeah, you're probably right.
There's no way that they don't make a second Aquaman. It was a box office hit in China, which is a gem. You know, it's like Yeah, I mean, it made $1 billion. There's no way they're not making a second one. It might.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. Like,
it might take a bit to make it, but there's no way it's not. There's no way they're not making a second one.
Yeah,
Star Wars has success doing side series, and I think people are seeing that now, especially with Disney Plus. I think if you have a fan base, and like you said, the movie made plenty of money. I think if you realize you have a fan base, then there's enough to do a couple of different things at a time. So it's, you have the series to kind of tie people over until the movie comes out. I think that could definitely still be a possibility.
Yeah. What about you?
My only hesitation for jumping on the Aquaman 2 train is that we already know there's going to be a soft reboot. So do they, like, if they want to do Aquaman 2, then they should probably like try and do it before this Flash movie comes out. And I feel like if they haven't started on production for Aquaman 2, that's going to be a major rush to get it done. And if you're still doing a soft reboot, then you can't have any movie planned unless you know exactly how everything's going to unfold, and you can't start writing until the Flash script is done. And we've seen that Flash script can't be done apparently because it's been written for 5 years now,
something like that. Yeah, it's been a long
and so. I think Aquaman 2 could happen, but we're not going to see it for a while. At least 5 years, probably.
Oof.
And that's
a long time.
Yeah, that is a long time, but that's just the way it is because of how Warner Brothers is.
Yeah, that soft reboot with the Flash movie really throws a monkey wrench, and it's hard to speculate what they're going to do until we see that movie because... like we said, we just don't know what's going to happen. Like, are they just going to, like, recast a bunch of people or ignore the previous movies or, so until we see that, it's going to be hard to speculate. But the Morbius trailer dropped with Jared Leto playing Morbius. And what did you guys watch that trailer? What were you guys' thoughts on that trailer?
Okay, so my thoughts on that were... I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the name, but the DC movie where like Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman are evil.
I know which one you're talking about.
The evil Batman. That's what Morbius reminded me of. I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the name, but that's exactly what it reminded me of.
Yeah, and it's like God. Is it DC Gods and Kings? Something like that.
Yeah, like. Gods and Monsters or something.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, I mean, I'm familiar with the Morbius character a little bit. Just I know he has affiliation with Spider-Man, and he's a vampire. But that's pretty much all I know on him. But I mean, the trailer was great, and I mean, Jared Leto's a great actor, so it looks good. What do the rest of you guys think?
I mean, I'm interested to see what they're gonna do because Michael Keaton came out at the end of it, at the end of the trailer.
Right. Yeah.
So I was reading this thing that said that apparently it's going to be somewhere in the middle where it's like the Sonyverse is sort of connected to the MCU, but they're not supposed to mention anything other than like Spider-Man from the MCU.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, if it's done right, it could be interesting because it could be the gateway for us to see Tom Holland's Spider-Man eventually fight some of these characters.
Yeah.
And
they
then
had a
maybe
Spider-Man poster in the trailer, right?
Yeah. They were saying that Tom Holland might have a cameo in it or something.
That would be great.
Yeah, and I mean, of course, like they've seen that audiences can understand the Spider-Verse now.
Yeah.
So I mean, they could do a lot of stuff with that. They could even have a Tom Holland Spider-Man that's not connected to the MCU. That's just from a different multiverse. If they really wanted to.
They got to introduce that now. Well, they're supposed to introduce the multiverse with Doctor Strange movie, but I don't know. That movie just lost its director, Scott Dickerson. So we'll see what happens with that. But they're supposed to be introducing the multiverse.
If it's done right, I feel like it could be a really good movie. My only fear is that Marvel fans can be a little savage with stuff that isn't connected to Disney.
Yeah.
Because I mean, Venom did pretty well. I think it ended up making close to $1 billion. So, I mean, I'm sure this movie will do fine. Mm-hmm. I'm just hoping everything is done well because it does seem really interesting.
Yeah.
When it was announced, I honestly wasn't very interested in it.
Yeah, like Morbius.
But
Jared Leto.
Yeah, but after seeing the trailer and then seeing that it could be connected somehow and that Michael Keaton's in it, and I mean, yeah, it could be interesting if it's done right. So I'll definitely give it a try.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Cody, you got anything to add to that?
Yeah, honestly, not super excited about it. I'm, if these the Spider-Verse movies that don't have actual Spider-Man in them, I'm not super into it.
Yeah, it does. It does sound kind of dumb when you think about it. Like, you have like a bunch of villains that are affiliated with Spider-Man and then Spider-Man's not.
Yeah, you don't even hear it.
Yeah.
And I guess that's kind of backwards because I just said I love Joker, and I know it's not like the Batman wasn't Joker, but yeah, I don't know. And Jared Leto is a great actor. I didn't love him in Suicide Squad, but he's a great actor. I think it'll be probably a good movie, and I'll give it a watch. But yeah, not like I said, without Spider-Man, I'm not really that excited about Spider-Man movies.
Yeah. They've got to connect Tom Holland to it somehow. I mean, like not just with this, but with Venom and everything like that.
Yeah.
They're gonna bring up Carnage in the Venom movie too. Like they got to get Spider-Man in that, man. Like it's gonna be missing without Spider-Man.
I just wish they would have like figured this out before they made the last Venom movie. Because
they're just so wishy-washy with the rights and the rights and stuff.
It's so dumb because I mean I know we sort of saw like the Venom story in Spider-Man 3, but that was whack. That could have been like I would have loved to see that done right because I mean we had this Venom that didn't even have the spider logo on him, and it would have been cool to see Tom Holland go dark side for a little bit,
if you used to watch the animated series, that like the actual connection with Batman and Venom was so cool. Like it was so cool to have them like interacting together and stuff, and like it's kind of disappointing they didn't do that in the movie.
Definitely.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. The last topic we have for the pod is just kind of Batman. The Matt Reeves Batman movie has started filming, and they're filming in Glasgow, Scotland, and that was interesting to me because I'm thinking, I feel like. Would they go kind of like a Victorian vibe, kind of like Batman by Gaslight, like that movie, the animated movie?
I kind of feel like they would have to.
Yeah, like it feels like it might have that type of vibe, which makes sense because they've repeatedly said that this movie is going to be like a detective noir type of film and really gritty and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm all for that, just that they dropped the location and that kind of gives some insight to the tone. What do you guys think?
Well, I saw another set picture, and they had like a bunch of Zeppelins flying around. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. It could be some kind of weird, like, alternative history type of thing that's set in like the 40s or the 30s or something. Yeah, because I saw this helicopter picture of one of those huge studios, and they had inflatable Zeppelins. Which would be really cool because like the whole Zeppelin thing. Like, we see that in the animated series all the time, and it used to be in a lot of the old comics. So, I mean, it could be interesting if they did something like that, where it was, like, a more lower-tech Batman, kind of like we see in the animated series.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm very interested. I mean, Matt Reeves is one of the only directors I can remember that made a trilogy where every movie was better than the last one.
Yeah, man. That Planet of the Apes trilogy is so underrated. That trilogy is so good, man. So I'm trusting whatever he's got.
Yeah, whatever he does, I'm sure will be amazing.
Yeah. What about the rest of you guys?
The only thing I'm in agreement. I think it could be really cool, and especially if it's set back in the past. Batman's known for his futuristic gadgets and whatnot, so it'd be cool to see how they kind of incorporate what he could do back then that was futuristic. But also, the one thing that I'll say that's kind of could be a negative about that is even still, it's still going to be Gotham City. It's supposed to be, New York. I'm guessing they're going to have to do a lot on a green screen and a sound stage. And you know me, I don't love CGI a whole lot. So They're gonna have to find a way to kind of make that work.
One thing with that is like they might be shooting a lot of it in Scotland, but that doesn't mean they'll shoot all of it there. I'm sure they'll go to different locations.
That's
and
true.
Stuff like that. They did
that's true.
Dark Knight trilogy. They shot in New York, Chicago, Pittsburgh. So like they were all over the place and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, but Hunter, what do you got to add to that?
Mainly for me, it's just. I kind of like that it's going to be in the past because I feel like it's not going to be like your like how your Marvel movies are just.
Did we lose Hunter?
We might have lost Hunter.
Did we? He's just getting to the interesting part too.
We'll edit that out post-production.
Yeah. But yeah, the
mic machine broken.
But keep going.
And it'll be more like the Dark Knight trilogy with just a lot more practical effects, which I'm all for because honestly, I think that makes the movie more real because it actually is. Yeah. And just I'm all for it, and I'm excited to see what he does.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I like that's why I like the Dark Knight trilogy so much is because all the practical effects and stuff like that. But I mean, you can have. I mean, Star Wars is always the example I use. Star Wars, they use practical effects for almost everything, and it's a space movie. So, I mean, no matter what genre
about
you do.
Space lizards.
About space lizards. So, like,
with
no matter,
laser swords.
No matter what
and
genre
Zeus.
you do, you can use practical effects. It doesn't have to be like you're in a green screen box. So, like, even if they want to go, like, more comic book style and stuff like that, it's fine. Just don't put yourself in a box, you know. You use the practical effects when you only use special effects when you need it, you know. So that's my only thing. It sounds like this Batman film's gonna be amazing. I saw a picture of Zoe Kravitz who's gonna be playing Catwoman, and she's got the short hair and everything. So like it really feels like it's gonna have like that Gotham by Gaslight type of feel, and like I'm all for it, whatever they're doing. So
definitely,
yeah, it sounds amazing. But do you guys have anything else to add that we talked about?
I'll just say that the new Batman movie has an interesting cast because I saw that Matt Reeves pretty much confirmed that what's his name is playing Penguin. What's his name?
Penguin. Colin Farrell.
Yeah, that Colin Farrell is pretty much playing Penguin, which is interesting because obviously he's not. He doesn't look anything like the Penguin from the comics.
Deformed,
yeah.
He's
not Danny DeVito. Yeah. So yeah, that'll be interesting because I mean it's not the first time we've seen a Penguin like that. Obviously, the Penguin from Gotham was like that. Was like that as well. But yeah, man, it's a killer cast. I'm sure it's going to be great. We should be probably seeing first look at these costumes in the next month or so. Yeah, because I mean they're shooting it right now. So yeah, I mean hopefully in the next month or so we see some first looks at the costumes, at the Batmobile and everything. Yep. I'm very interested. I'm almost more interested to see Catwoman's costume than Batman because
it's a PG show.
For
obvious reasons. So we'll see what's up.
Yeah. Definitely. That trilogy is like what I'm most excited for to kick it off next year. But that's all we have today, folks. Thanks for joining us on the Fan Wars podcast and working with us through this new format that we're going to do. Again, we're going to be talking about not just Star Wars, but all things in the sweaty nerd world. So we're going to be giving you all the sweaties. So, but Cody, where can people find you?
Hey, you can find me on Twitter at Cody S. Williams. I don't have Instagram because I'm washed and the Astros are innocent.
They are not. David, where can people find you? It just got everybody fired. David, where can people find you at?
You can find me at Darth Goncha on Twitter. And you can find me at David Hidalgo 44 on Instagram.
Nice. Hunter, where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Hunter_Holmes10.
Gotcha. And you can all find me on Twitter and Instagram at the Great Josh B. You can tweet, comment to any of us. We love talking Star Wars. Love talking nerd stuff. And thanks for joining with us. Peace out.